welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. We're back again. We're going to try this without cameras, and we'll see if we can increase the bandwidth a little bit. Are you there, Michelle?
Yeah, I'm still here. Still here. Can you hear me?
Yes. You're there.
All
Okay.
right.
So hopefully this will
All
play
right.
out better if we're just doing audio only. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if we're coming up. It looks like we're all green lights this time. So thank you guys for being here. And yeah, so we were talking about, let's see, we got as far as talking about energies. You feel high. And I think
Yeah.
that dreamy feeling is what I kind of relate it with because I've heard other people talking about sort of that not being able to, kind of this blurring the lines between dream and awake time and just thoughts.
hmm
Like, did I say that or did I just think about saying it? Stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Did I dream that or did
Right.
it really
So
happen?
that's definitely, I'd say that's definitely in the high category.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, I have to say though, as far as symptoms, going back to the sixth,
Hmm.
wow, it really hit me hard. I was getting those like physical jabbing pains.
Yeah.
You brought it up the last couple of shows,
Hmm.
and I hadn't experienced it at that time. I mean, I've experienced it before, but I hadn't experienced it that at that time. But I definitely did. It was a couple days pretty uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Had a lot of head pressure. Really felt like I had like a plate in my head,
Right.
and yeah, and of course the tension in the neck and the shoulders. Really feeling that. But the jolts, like right through my elbow, like right in the funny bone area, and it
Hmm.
was just these shooting jolts, like charges. Mom as well had face twitching for 2 days that just drove her nuts. you know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
the whole right side of her face. So start off the first day, or just her eye was twitching constantly, and then it was more of the whole face. And she said, if you hadn't told me about this before, I probably would have thought I was having a stroke or something like that, right?
Right.
The way your face is going crazy, she would have been like, "What is wrong with me?"
Well, others have had
and
it in just like, just an eye twitch or something that won't stop. My um, son was actually talking about that. He's like, my eye will not stop twitching. The left eye, I think it was.
yeah,
But yeah, so she was
yeah,
getting it all over her face, though. That's,
yeah. Like it's almost like percolates through like these little muscles you didn't even know you had, and it's like they talk about how many muscles you have in your cheeks and your face, right? How many muscles you use to smile and frown, and
mm-hmm.
but it just seems like they just like popping and hopping and jumping around all over your face.
Right.
So it's a weird feeling. It really is. It's disconcerting, and it feels unusual, and there are these little spasms, and yeah, so it's a funny feeling. But I mean, I find that when this energy comes in, that can go on throughout. Like I'll get that same sort of weird percolating, spasmy, bubbly feeling be going on in my abdomen, or even in the heart, in the high heart area, and feeling that percolating in the flip floppies, and little things. So can hit these little points. But yeah, just different reactions. But definitely heavy. It was hardcore for a couple days for me. I really had to do the salt bath and soak, and felt like the really heavy bones. And the other thing I'm still really experiencing is heat, and just this feeling of internal body temperature being much higher,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I sleep. And still, now we're almost the middle of January. I sleep like right by my window. I've got the window open. I've got summer pajamas on and one blanket. And this is very unusual for me in the
Right.
winter.
And you're in Canada, so it's nice and.
And I'm in Canada, and this is really unusual. And I'll be comfortable like before I go to sleep. I'll be fine, right? But as soon as I go into this, deep state, meditative state, I have to kick off all the blankets, and it's not that I start sweating.
Mm-hmm.
I just and it's not like hot flashes or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like iron hot. I feel like I'm iron hot.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm pretty much sleeping the whole night with just like one thin blanket on and the window open.
Right.
And yeah, like a tank top and shorts kind of thing for pajamas, right? Like really. So that's pretty unusual, and it's pretty distinctive. So, and it happens with meditation too.
Hmm.
Not even just sleeping. It's just I'm noticing as soon as I go into that deeper state,
Well,
I
it's
actually heat
interesting
up.
that you mentioned the 6th because all that stuff that had happened made me remember that that day I just could not get out of the bed. I was like, I'd wake up for a little bit, right back to sleep. And I was wanting to
Oh,
kind of pay attention to all the stuff going on in the news and stuff, but I just couldn't. I was just out of it like that whole day.
yeah,
And then since then, I've had like episodes that were like that, where you just feel real heavy and you just got to go rest. And then I've had other
yeah.
times where you feel like, you drink a couple cups of coffee and you're just like so
It's
energized.
really up and down. Like, like I've been saying the last couple weeks too, it's just it's constant now, right? This constant flux in and
Right.
out. But sometimes like it's really, coming in strong like it did. And look at how it played out. The energies played out. There's a lot of energy coming in on that day on the 6th.
Yeah.
And we saw evidence of that. So I definitely really experienced it. I observed what was going on to up to a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
and then I knew what was going on, like kind of already knew. Anybody in the know already knew that was going to happen,
All right.
really. um so there wasn't really any surprises. Well, of course, no, there I shouldn't say there wasn't surprises. I knew it was going to be chaotic. So
Right. Right.
I turned it off, because I was literally experiencing, like I said, that pain in my arm. And that, anybody's had it when it gets in your neck and your skull, and the pressure, almost like a caffeine headache,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Really felt that. Really having to drink a lot of water. Holy smokes. Really noticing that I have to be aware of constantly drinking water. So the
That's
water's really important right now, which I think is good. Good segue, eh, Shane?
absolutely. Yeah. What a great segue into the water. And, even the Bible talks about, birth pangs and the way, it increases and
Mm,
increases, when a woman's in labor and we're about to birth something beautiful here. And we've been talking about this for years now, right?
yeah, exactly. And what was really sort of imprinted on me, kind of the messages I've been receiving about the energies at this time, is that the waters have broke, and it really brought me to remembering my second child, and um the waiting with her. She was really heavy, and I had a lot of false labor. There was a lot of I even went to the hospital once, like thinking this was it.
Mm-hmm.
um and so there was a lot of times it was really stretched out. Probably the longest month of my life was that last month of that pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
right? In waiting. Excuse me. But it's that when I actually did go into labor and it did happen, it was so fast. It was under 2 hours, about an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really reminded all that, and how when you're waiting, it's like when the waters break,
Mm-hmm.
you really, that's the time where you're like, there's no going back now.
Oh,
Right?
right, right.
Like it really is.
And you've been talking about this whole water theme. It's come through in several of my client sessions, this whole water theme, which I've always sort of associated it with. You said it was the air sign, though, right? Aquarius, the age of Aquarius coming
That's
in.
right. Yeah, Aquarius is an air sign, but they're also the water bearer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really important. They and they in the pouring of the waters. So as much as Aquarius is an air sign, and here we've moved into the time of Aquarius, it also is an action of pouring the waters,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or in the water bearer,
Mm-hmm.
and carrying those waters. And so for me as an Aquarius, it is symbolic of this. And it's these archetypal understandings or knowings within ourself.
Mm-hmm.
um oh, how do I say?
The
What is
waters
it?
have broken.
Yeah, the waters. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. The waters have broken. Yeah, so it is a really powerful energy that's prevalent right now, and I think prevalent in all of us
Mm-hmm.
at this time. No, no matter what sign we are, I think a part of being star seeds, we're all kind of Aquarius in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not we were born as Aquarius, we all really are Aquarians in what we're doing, and that energetic pouring of waters.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think a lot of us have probably had similar imagery or visions in meditation about the wave and the appearance of the wave. I know it's repeatedly come up lately again,
Mm-hmm.
with the last few weeks and everything that we've been going through, and surfing that wave and
Mm-hmm.
finding that sweet spot in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of those images coming up. Candace put one up on a Facebook post there recently too, and I was like, there it is. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. That's what I see so clearly over and over. And especially when feeling, times like the 6th, feeling this swirling vortex of energy going on or like around you.
Mm-hmm.
You can really feel the sort of commotion of it, but we're really, finding that sweet spot through the center,
Yeah.
and it's mastery, it's art, it's taken us practice, and but it really is, like you say, like with the waters breaking, that, or the breaking of the dam. There's another imagery for it.
Mm-hmm.
um that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they say?
Right.
The horse
And
is out of
like
the
you were
horse
saying
is
that,
out of the barn, the cat's out of the bag. Like there's no
yeah, there's no
there's
going
no
back.
going back.
And I can feel the momentum, and I don't know exactly how things are going to play out, but I feel great momentum for change and a lot of things going on. I do want to encourage you all too, because I know a lot of stuff is hard to get out there. So the mods, I want you to feel comfortable sharing links to information you feel that will be good to share with the community. This is
Yeah.
a place for us to meet and share information and
Yeah.
ideas and stuff like that. So please
Yeah,
feel free to
because
do that.
what we can say is now extremely limited.
Right. What we can say, and what I can put in the description is much different than
Hmm.
what you can share below. And for the
It,
moderators that have links, so share that stuff and get it out if you like to. And
yeah.
because there's a lot of exciting things going on. It's almost like two realities going on. Because you hear people talk about the bifurcation or the divergence. And there very much is at least two realities, two main realities people see. What's presented. And that kind of gets me back to that dream you had. You remember the one where it was like there was a screen and you could see beyond it, but everybody was sort of fascinated by the screen, but that was the illusion of it. And
Hmm.
did that tie in with a dream you had recently too?
With a screen?
Yeah, the one where the hologram in the sky.
Oh, sorry, screen. I'm picturing screen like a window screen. Sorry, because
Right.
I had a conversation with Travis the other day, and during it, I had this whole like download while I was looking at my screen. So all that was coming back to me about a screen, and I'm like, well, but I didn't think I told you about that.
Well, maybe we were supposed to. Yeah, that's how our higher selves work. Like, bring up the screen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that'll pull me out of remembering
The actual
what you are
dream.
bringing up,
Right, right.
which is the alligators. Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, because you had also told a dream where you saw the illusion of everything,
Yeah.
and people were sort of in awe by it. That was one you shared, I think, last week, right? I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It was really, everybody kind of coming together and really kind of celebrating, excited,
Right.
and it was just a big show being put on,
But
and
that
it was like
sounds
a.
like what happened, what's happening in a way. Like these two
Hmm.
realities. You've got
Hmm.
the illusion or the hologram that's put up there, but for those who can
Yeah.
see beyond it, that what that is, it's very
We were
exciting.
having a great time. We're like, wow, like that's so crazy,
Right,
like
right.
that's so amazing that they can do this, and that's really freaky. But we weren't like, it was just really cool, right, to
Mm-hmm.
watch. But and it was competitive. Like I really got the sense like there was a real competitive nature to it, or
Mm-hmm.
like a game, one side against another.
Mm-hmm.
There was really that aspect to it, but it was overlaid across the entire imagery of the sky. And
Right.
and then that same dream sequence too is where I had another experience of like, it was like a VR virtual, like having a virtual reality headset on or
Mm-hmm.
something. I was aware of everything I was looking at being an illusion. It was just kind of like, wow, that's really cool how real that is.
Yeah.
Right. So it really seemed to want to impress that show, and illusion and games started being played out. But for people who didn't realize that, they'd be just believing they would be thinking what they were seeing was something else.
Right.
Yeah, who knows, they could take it all kinds of ways, right? They could be scared, they could be, right? So yeah, there really is a reminder that like these there really is different perspectives of truth and reality, and
Mm-hmm.
how people are perceiving what's going on right now. But
Exciting times. But that gets into the other dreams that, because you and Travis both had dreams about alligators, and I thought that was strange. And I thought, you know what? There's no doubt somebody's probably going to watch this and they're like, I had a dream about alligator too,
yeah,
because that's how
yeah,
it seems to work,
it does, yeah, yeah. And it was kind of the same theme, which was interesting. So with mine again, again part of that same dream with the screen, because it was like we were all outside sort of gathered, near water, like a park, where you'd have all the different paths and sort of gathering areas, everybody just kind of milling about, some people in the water having a good time, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's doing all kinds of different things. I was down by the water's edge, and the water was all kind of cloudy. It was kind of a little inlet area, and all of a sudden this really large alligator just kind of rose up to the surface, um, and sort of he was floating to the shore close to it. And as I'm watching this, all of a sudden out of nowhere, this man in a rowboat just makes his way over there matter of factly and chops up this alligator with a machete so fast, like sushi dicing crazy, right? And chop, 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 chop. And these like big chunks, all that's left is this floating chunks of alligator in the water. And I was just like, I was kind of like, whoa, like that's kind of harsh.
Right.
I looked at the guy, I'm like, well, what was that about? And he wasn't, he was just really blank about it. Like he was just doing his job.
Right.
There was like no emotion or anything to it. And he was just like, well, people don't realize they're under the water. People
Mm-hmm.
don't know that they're there. And that was his comment, right? I was like, okay. So, there's people swimming about, and
And just
um
below the surface, there's danger lurking
yeah.
that they're not aware of, and he was chopping it up and getting rid of it.
Yeah, but it was just really weird, the matter of factness of it, like
Right.
decision done, chop chop chop. And
Right.
um
And why are
and
people
why
swimming
would
in
you
a
relocate the alligator, right? You
right?
just chop it up. But so then Travis had his dream with the alligator was, it was like a long driveway, that like a wrought iron fence, the kind like on wheels that slides closed
Mm-hmm.
at the end of a driveway, a big gate, huge big gate. And this alligator had been, I guess, crushed by this gate, like it had tried to get out, and it had been totally like cut up by this gate. And also it was like the gate was like burning hot
Mm-hmm.
from the sun, and it had like burned the alligator, and then the sun had burned the alligator. So just really, cut up and burnt up alligator at this gate.
Hmm.
Yeah, which I guess had tried to get out or whatever. So the reptilian theme is really interesting. Them escaping,
Yeah.
um, and getting killed, but both so very violent. What came to me was sort of the shock people, because I mean there was a shock that I experienced in viewing what I viewed,
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm reminded of is you know, with a military judgment and penalty, the harshness of that,
Mm-hmm.
and people witnessing that. It's not something that we've seen like since what, the Second World War, really, right? We're not used to that, witnessing that in
Mm-hmm.
the generation, in these last few generations.
Right.
But it is has been a harsh reality of history and wars for some time. So, um, you know, the shock of viewing swift justice,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think, yeah, to me it seems to kind of represent that.
Well, check this out.
Um,
I just looked up alligators in dreams, and it says to see a wild alligator or crocodile in your dreams foretells a new beginning or changes in your waking life. This dream can also indicate danger in some way. Because of its association with religion, the alligator can mean that negative aspects signify a danger which will shortly come into your life. And in the dream, it gets chopped up, right? In the
mhm,
dream, it was actually there and kind of got revealed or was trying to
mhm.
escape in Travis's dream and kind of got chopped
Yeah.
up. Right.
Well, to me, it really goes with the whole draining of the swamp. You know,
Right.
what lives in a swamp? Alligators.
Exactly. Yeah.
So and just the way this, like, where I viewed it, this like inlet, it wasn't that it was necessarily a swamp, but it was all murky waters, like muddy murky waters.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't open water per se. So yeah, it was, to me it really kind of symbolizes, I think, that reptilian hidden
And that
uh
really represents the that part of our brain, that fight or flight or the fear,
mhm.
what's used to control humans so much.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The anger and the fear and all that that's
Yeah.
used. So we need to chop it up, right?
Yeah, well, it was interesting, in the dream that I had with that chop, there was no fear. Like, I wasn't afraid. I was shocked by the suddenness of what I viewed,
Right.
and um, but I also understood there was a purpose for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why my question was just kind of like, what was that for? And yeah, there was no, that was the thing that was striking. It was the lack of emotion to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
On something that was so drastic and violent. Is there wasn't any fear, there wasn't any, and everybody's still carrying on and just doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, chop suey,
now,
chop suey alligator.
now my son had a dream that led him to. He had been up all night playing games and fell asleep at like 6 in the evening, and then woke up a couple hours later from this dream, and had his first panic attack ever. So he had this dream that he was suspended above this pit, like by each of his limbs, pulled out in all directions, and looking like up towards this. The pit was below him. He was looking up towards this device of some sort that looked like, I guess it was kind of cone shaped and looked like it was pointed at his heart area, but it was far above him, and it had a glowing blue light on the end of it. And he said he never really saw anything shoot out of it or anything, but he could feel the energies, two distinct energies that when he tried to embody both of them, it just made him feel like he was going crazy. And it was the energies we talk about all the time. It was
Hmm.
fear and anger. He said the anger was just so strong. And then there was love, and he felt like the anger was so much stronger than the love in this dream, and it felt like it was overpowering it. And that actually gets back to sort of the message I got a while back, that even in the loving community, sometimes we are sending out hate. You know what I mean? Because we get
Hmm.
kind of caught up in the stories and stuff like that. So he's
Hmm.
trying to embody both of these, and it was so horrific that it woke him up, and he was in a panic attack, and he was
Oh.
looking around, and he was wondering what, he's like in a waking nightmare basically, and came and talked to me about it and everything. But we ended up doing a BQH session. I'm going to actually do a video with him. We're going to discuss all of that because I find it so
Absolutely.
fascinating how he was able to connect in and get answers about that. But also, we've talked on the show before about how the energies will paint a picture in our mind, what we're feeling. Our brain will interpret that and sort of give us a story that aligns with it. Because we were talking about this uplifting feeling, giving people the feeling of flying or levitating, floating, these types of dreams. But it was this uplifting energy that their brain was interpreting into that. So I felt like, he was picking up on the extreme polarity that's, we've talked about that, the polarity is like ramped up right now, like it's on steroids, and it was like he was picking up on that and this, and I think really the only reason he remembered it is because he had been up all night and he woke up having to go to the bathroom. So like having to go to the bathroom woke him up when he had only been asleep for like one sleep cycle basically.
And that, well, and also the sensation, the physical sensation of the necessity to have to go to the bathroom would be creating this urgency in that situation that he's going through. So it's like you're going through this crazy experience and you don't realize you got on top of it all, you got to pee,
right?
And you're like panicking and you don't know what to do. Like you don't know what to do with yourself. So I do feel like there was an overlay, but I also think it all serves a purpose. You've now done a BQH session with him. He's had, you're gonna have, this opens up a whole other ball game. So I think, he experienced, obviously he was experiencing the energy, like he was, just getting blasted with it. And it can be really shocking, and it could be, purging out any darkness too. So, adding the having to go pee on top of it would really kind of, you'd almost feel like backed into a corner, like, and it would add to this whole urgency of trying to get out of the situation as opposed to just surrendering to it. So, but I also think that, now what it's being able to lead to is the conversations that, you're going to have with him that are going to better prepare him now, especially doing the BQH, the whole hypnosis, like just better preparing his whole subconscious now, even to be able to handle receiving energy again, right? When he gets it next time, like, because it's only going to go up from here, and it will, like when you get vibration dreams and different things, like it's something else, it's not something you've ever experienced before. So if you're not steady in kind of this level of sort of confidence or it can really throw you for a loop, right? It can make you more anxious or scared or panic, or because you don't know what's going on, right?
And it's intense as heck.
Yeah. And it's beyond your control. And really at the ultimate level, that's mostly why we panic about anything, is because we feel like the situation is to a point is beyond our control. Yeah. And that can be really scary.
Absolutely. So he's got actually after his BQH, he was amazed by it and said, he's like, wow, I feel like I was walking around all empty and now I'm all filled up. So he enjoyed it. He even experienced, because he's been working out and his muscles were sore, and he experienced, he's like, wow, my muscles aren't nearly as sore as they were. So so he experienced some cool little things to, put in his experience basket. And he already said he'd come on, and I'm like, hey, you should let me interview you. It'd be kind of cool for people to see.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. No, that's just amazing. What a benefit. So, and there you go. Like, as terrible as the experience of that anxiety, attacking that moment can be, what's come of it.
Yeah, it was like an activation.
It's so much growth. Wow. It's huge activation. Huge activation. So he's going to be a little lightning rod now.
Yeah. He's amazing. He's already really connected, so it's cool to see. And then to actually hear his voice change in the session and get deeper when I was talking to his higher self is wild.
Oh my gosh, I want to hear it. Oh wow.
Yeah, I'll see if he'll
Okay,
let
so
me
you're
share
putting
some of
that
that.
out.
I
You're
don't know if
putting that.
I'll see what he feels about it. He hasn't. He's got to listen. We just did it yesterday, so he's got to
He
still
hasn't
listen to
listened.
it. Yeah, he
Oh
hasn't.
wow, he hasn't. Oh, because that's a
Yeah,
whole other thing. You
yeah, it
don't
is.
realize you come out of it. It's just like dreaming.
Yeah,
You don't realize how much you experience till you go back and listen to it. You're like, oh my gosh, I forgot about all that.
yeah, yep.
And you literally go through. You can walk through the whole experience again and like re-remember it. It's crazy. So yeah.
You know, Bilbo says third time's a charm. Are you talking about us getting on today? Yeah, I was like determined. After the second time, I'm like, I don't want to give up on this. We're gonna get online. I don't care if we got to go audio only. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, we're still here. We make it work for as long as we can,
I was
eh?
too excited not to get, and
Yeah.
so much
It
going
is
on.
very exciting to be here at this time in history, and
It really is.
it's a miracle, like just to witness a miracle unfolding, I feel.
Was there any other symptoms? Tightness in the throat I had, but I feel like that's
Mhm.
kind of tying in with what's going on right now.
Yeah, I felt that too. It comes and goes.
Yeah,
Get a little clumped. Yeah.
yeah.
Every now and then.
It doesn't help that
Um,
I've probably, I don't know, cried a dozen times in the last few days. Just so touched by stuff. Not bad. I mean,
yeah.
it was.
Yeah. No, any little video, anything. Send me something about the puppy. I like I'll cry.
Right.
And it is it's it's been therapeutic. And we
Hmm.
talk about the throat and I start coughing. But yeah, no, I've really noticed that it's been released. And again, just the water, replenishing that water being so important and soaking in the water.
Definitely. I've been
Um,
having to do that. Uh, I gone from a month, and I mentioned last week that I was like down to like once a week. Now I'm down to 2 or 3 times a week on the baths.
yeah, me too.
Just
Yeah,
because
cheers.
I got to soak, man. I got to, for some reason, I feel
Yeah.
like it grounds me like instantly, and I can relax. And
It
uh,
clears that tension out. Like I just really find, especially when I get bottlenecked,
hmm
with that neck and the head tension and all of it, when the bones get heavy, the muscles get twitchy, just have a good soak in there.
hmm
And it really does make a huge difference. And I find the rebound on the energy is enormous.
hmm
So yeah,
Well, one thing
it's it.
I was watching this Lori Ladd on her YouTube channel, and she was talking about a lot of times we get kind of pulled in all these directions, and our light kind of gets pulled in all these directions, and it's good to take a moment and pull the light back in. And I didn't really get it what she was
Mhm.
saying until like I got triggered by something. I do the conscious breathing like I always talk about that helps me get grounded, but I actually said that I'm bringing all my light back in right now, just pulling it all back in for a moment, and I was
Yeah,
just covered with chills. I mean, it felt like it wasn't just that moment. It felt like I had a lifetime's worth of light that pulled back in for a moment, and then I was able to turn around and blast it back out. You know what I mean? And it was
that's
like,
right.
wow. It felt like one of those old
Yeah,
flash bulbs that you hear it charging, and then it
yeah.
pops or whatever. But yeah, it was like that.
Well, we don't realize how we spread ourselves thin, right?
Hmm.
And it really is energetically, and then we get sick and we break down and we snap and we get stressed out because we're spreading ourselves thin. and
Hmm.
and yeah, so taking that time to like pull your energetic light back in and touch home base again,
Hmm.
really. I energetically go to like my core and the heart, which I feel it energetically, and go back to that spot and touch base and pull it all, like you said, pull it all in,
Hmm.
inhale it, blow it up, and then breathe it back out. You can
Definitely,
really feel the difference,
you
and
really
and
can.
it can't function now if you spread yourself thin. Okay, it's just like you'll be walking into things and
Yeah.
bruises and banged up, right? Um, it does really cause us to sort of be present with ourselves, especially when being floaty and
I've been having to stay on the
dizzy.
magnesium too. If I'll notice if I forget to take it, I'll get heart palpitations, and it knocks them right out for me. So if you guys are
Mm-hmm.
experiencing anything like that, like either some people get like where your heart like pauses for a moment and then kind of comes back with pressure, and some people get the really sort of shallow, quick heart There's different types.
Flutters,
There's
yeah.
I guess it's atrial fibrillation and defib or something, but it's
Oh, right.
so it's like two different types. But the magnesium helps me with both of them. Like I
Right.
said, I'll notice if I didn't take them. Like, so there's tons of energy coming in, and I think we're kind of limited by that because I've heard it depletes our magnesium. So it's a good
Mm-hmm.
supplement. If you're dealing with that, you can try it out. It might work for
Mm-hmm.
you too.
Yeah, and the vitamin D. I mean, just
Hmm.
because of the lack of sunshine
Yeah.
lately, and being conscious of taking that just to try to help to boost up that. It's just been cloudy for days, and we get short days at that, right?
Yeah.
So, mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm getting messages where people aren't able to get in. It took. I was wondering why. It seemed like the numbers are slowly crawling up, but it was down for a while. I thought people were probably stuck in the other one, but yeah.
Right.
So I guess I should. I guess once this is over, you guys, it will pop up probably as a separate video. I took the other ones down, so once you leave out of them, you shouldn't be able to open them again. But yeah, was there anything else with dreams or symptoms? We talked so long before that, and then when we were having problems, we talked more, and I can't.
I know. I knew that would happen.
Like, what all did we say live?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, it definitely had more flying dreams again too. So that was really cool. I've had some great experiences with that and the vivid dreams. So yeah, just flying across the landscape.
oh yeah, you
Super
didn't say that
realistic.
live yet. Yeah, talk about those dreams because you didn't say that.
Well, yeah. I mean, not too much. Like, not too much just to say really, except just really, it's really realistic. Like, and just flying like by the city, over the city really fast, and seeing like the airport and the planes and the cars and the buildings, and then just opened up to the land, and it
Hmm.
was just so detailed. It was so clear, and one point there's all these geese I saw on the ground, and I could hear them honking and making noise, and
Wow.
different wildlife. Yeah. And it was just super real, and it was just flying through the air so fast. So lots of that. That carried on that like it was a whole night of that. And I had different segments of it, where I felt like I'd fly off to one place, I'd take a little pit stop, and then I'd just like goof around. I remember being outside of like a house in winter. It sort of seemed like kind of Victorian-ish
Hmm.
house, and there was like hedges, at the front of the sidewalk, running along the sidewalk in front of the house.
Hmm.
There was like these hedges, and there was all snow on the ground. It was evening, just like now,
Hmm.
and um and I just was playing around. I was just goofing around. Like normally when I fly, I just like take off and go, but I was just like playing leaning over with floating parallel to the ground.
Hmm.
And it was just being goofy,
Right.
but it was so clear, the snow on the ground, the sidewalk, the like everything, the sensation of it, all of it. And so just a lot of little segments like that. And then I just go off and be flying off through
Do
the
you,
sky again.
do you think it's you picking up on the just interpreting the uplifting energies, or do you feel like you were going out of body? Did you have the zinging and vibrating that you get, like we talked about?
Um, I wasn't. There was some vibration, but it wasn't like super crazy vibration, like the one where I was couldn't tell the difference like between reality, where I was floating from my room, like in my room. We talked about that one.
Oh, were
So
you
it wasn't
lucid
like
in
that where
these?
my teeth were chattering. This was more like having a super, like
Vivid
one of those
dream.
super lucid dreams, right?
Hmm.
um and really kind of just being aware of that. I went in and out of awareness of it being a dream, and of thinking it was real. Like at some points I was marveling at how real it was, but knowing it was a dream.
Hmm.
And at some points I really thought it was real, but not to the extent like when I kept levitating out of my bed in my room
Hmm.
repeatedly. Right? That was very confusing. But I do notice there's always, it wasn't that I'm vibrating. I notice when I'm flying or levitating, I don't always have to have this huge vibration, but it's like a magnetic feeling.
Hmm.
I have a different sensation of my body or my cells in my body. So it's not like the energy blast vibration. It's more like I have a magnetic awareness of like a physical feeling, like a magnetic feeling in my body
Mm-hmm.
that I like tap into. And yeah, so but it's different than when your teeth are chattering.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
Well,
um
I'm still getting the pressure on the third eye, or on the forehead, that magnetic feeling that you're talking about, and the
mhm.
crown. Some headaches, but I think a lot of times I've been getting dehydrated lately. Even though I've been drinking
Yeah.
tons of water, I think for some reason I've been going through water like crazy. So,
Yeah.
and I saw Alva was mentioning that too. So, evidently, magnesium and water is important right now, along with, I guess,
Mhm.
anything else you got going on.
Yeah, I think that feeling of like a caffeine headache,
Mm-hmm.
I think is definitely a sign. Drink water, drink water. That's how I've been taking it. If I start to get that sort of feeling at all, I've
Mm-hmm.
got a water jug right by the bed. And it seems to be helping. So
Right.
I think that's. But you know what? I sorry, I did forget to say that I do think that you the energies like when they come in high, we've been this up and down wave,
Mm-hmm.
like it's so rapid now, where with, like on the 6th it comes in and it's like heavy and crunching and bone crushing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like this rebound back up, and then like 2 days later I'm having dreams where I'm like flying everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and the energy lifts, and so it really is this rapid up and down now. And I do see the difference in the dreams as well, um as in when the energy lifts and bounces back up, I'm having repeatedly having all these flying dreams or levitation dreams, um and how dramatic they are, like sometimes with the energy or sometimes just like what I explained to you. But it definitely is following that,
Mm-hmm.
and becoming more constant. So
It's
mhm.
got to make you wonder though when you just feel like you got to pass out for a second. You go take a little nap. It's like, was that called to do something, or I don't know. It feels
Mhm.
like you're doing something in dream time. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
like almost like the Avatar guy getting in the little thing and falling asleep and then waking up in the Avatar and doing his
For
job there.
sure.
It feels like that's what
That's
that.
exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I go and I lie down in my space and I meditate, and I and or I'll put on the binary beats or whatever, and it's crazy. You go into this whole other reality
Mm-hmm.
that's so real sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, it does feel like that. And you can go off and do things like that's a great example too, because in Avatar he was paralyzed, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't walk, and then but he goes into that body and all of a sudden he can like run and do
Yeah.
all this stuff again, right? So it really is like that. Like it feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sometimes like I'm in a wheelchair in this life, and then but I
Limitless
go
over
into
there.
that space and I can fly
Yeah.
everywhere. I can do whatever I want. I'm, a superhero consistently. Right?
Yeah.
So, mhm. How do I bring that into here? Yeah, how to figure that one out. Mhm.
Oh, Bilbo had an interesting dream. He said was face to face with a bear in a dream. Huge head,
Oh,
could see every detail, hair, eyes, could smell him. He grunted and poked me in the chest with his nose when I moved, and then he woke up.
wow. Oh, interesting.
Wow. Just
Hmm.
makes you wonder, huh?
Yeah, I thought, that would be a personal thing. What sort of the bear means. I think it's like bear energy coming up and saying hello.
And poking you in the heart.
It's
Yeah, definitely. Look that up,
archetypal.
Bilbo.
It's archetypal bear energy. I feel has got to do with him hereditary,
Yeah.
like lineage, ancestral. I don't know if that makes sense to him at all, but or like totem. Um, yeah.
What do you mean, like, are you from Russia or something, Bilbo? Like,
Well, no, I wouldn't. I'm not getting Russia. Where?
isn't the bear the Russian animal? Let's see, bear
Yeah, no,
in.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm seeing more like native or something.
Oh yeah, like
Like
running bear and stuff like that.
yeah,
All right, so check it out. Let's
yeah.
see what the internet says because it's always right, right? I'm just playing. Okay, so bears in our dreams usually symbolize our strength, power, and independence. Knowing
Mm.
that bears are wild animals, they must be also a symbol of some untamed habits of a dreamer. Another meaning of a bear in your dream may be a mother figure. Also, a bear in your dream may be attacking you, or a bear may be just sleeping.
Well, I
Okay.
think the bear energy at this time is really relevant, right? Because it's about, you know, if you think
Strength,
don't
power, and
poke the bear,
independence.
and
Yeah.
well, bears hibernate, right?
Yeah.
Also, bears hibernate, and when they come out of hibernation, I think that's something to look at and the timing of that.
Yeah.
And bears aren't to be messed with, you know. There's something about this energy right now of waking the bear, waking the sleeping bear.
Yeah. I like that.
And yeah, so I just feel like it's part of that archetypal energy, and that archetypal energy means something to Bill. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's
Yeah.
part of his guidance, his um, mhm,
Yeah. He
his
says
guiding
he's
star,
always loved
guiding
cats,
star.
so a bear was odd to him.
Oh, cool.
But yeah,
Wow,
I think
strong
it's
energy.
significant. It's poking you in the heart, and it represents strength, power, and independence. You know,
Mm,
that says a
mm-hmm.
lot right there alone. Despite anything else that happened in the dream. Let's see. Bears
Mm-hmm.
are hibernation stage. Hmm.
Yeah, timing.
Yeah. Waking the sleeping
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah, and looking at the timing of that, of where when bears come out of hibernation too, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that might have some personal relevance to him as far as like um waking the bear.
Yeah. It's like saying you have
So
heart. Heart, courage, all that's
yeah,
that
yeah,
strength
this
and
could be a
power
lot
in the
of
heart.
things.
Yeah. That's
I
good
think it's
stuff.
some, something uh he could choose to meditate on
Mm-hmm.
and see what what he gets from it, right?
So
What the
wake the
bear
bear
has
in
to
your
say.
heart.
Yeah. You can put yourself in a good meditation or a hypnosis and ask yourself what the bear had to say.
Yeah, I think that's good
Yeah.
though because it's encouraging. It didn't happen for no reason. That's what I'll tell you for
Oh,
sure.
for
And,
sure.
and this is
When
the
it's
perfect time
striking.
to take a
Yeah.
stand in power and strength in our hearts. I mean, all of us. That's a
Yeah.
great message for all of us right now. You
Well,
know.
what the other thing too is I have to say is the animal presence in dream, because I'm really what I've been struck myself
Hmm.
by, we talked about the alligator dreams, but I've had several dreams lately where all different kinds of animals, just really
Hmm.
hyper realistic, really like making their presence known. Like
Hmm.
I had a frog, he talks about a bear coming up, and I had a frog come up to me in a dream, and it was like um it was croaking at me, and um it was kind of like it was cute, like it was just like, hey, this is my spot in the creek kind of thing.
Wait, was it
back off of my
was it
back
singing
off of
about a
my turf.
rainbow connection or anything?
Sorry.
Was it singing about a rainbow connection?
No. No, unfortunately he wasn't. He was a little lippy, but I mean he was just croaking, but it was just like I don't know, it was just this animal experience, right? And the geese, I seeing these geese and hearing them so
Hmm.
clearly. So an alligator, I don't know, it just seems like I do feel I don't know if there's like a extra animal totem energy right now,
Hmm.
uh, that are really making themselves known
Yeah.
at this time. It really, and the tortoise, that that's another one that keeps coming up. The turtles, I see that imagery coming up with the tortoise. There's another. So I don't know if you guys are experiencing like more animal encounters in dreams.
Well, actually, one thing I think I told you off air, but I don't think I said it on air, and that was because I've mentioned before, like I'll have these dreams and I feel like I just left a meeting, right, with friends, and I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember any of it. But I had
Yeah.
just the other day, I had one where it was like I could tell I was somewhere where they had a dog, and I was like
Yeah,
having a conversation
that's
with
right.
people and
That's
like petting on this dog, like,
oh,
you
I
know how you
forgot
do
about
when you go
that.
somewhere and there's a loving dog and it's like loving on you and you're like petting on it, having a conversation, and it felt like for hours this dog like really loved me and I was loving on it, but I couldn't remember anything else of what was going on in my
Yeah.
dream because my focus was just on petting this dog and loving on it or whatever. And I couldn't even tell
Yeah.
you what the dog looked like. I just had that feeling that you have, when you wake up. I don't know. It was just weird.
Yeah. You spent time. Yeah. I totally forgot about that too. That's exactly what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just having these interactions. Hmm. I almost feels like communication too,
Yeah.
like even though they're not talking like English at you or
Right.
anything, but there's, I just really get this sense of interaction as well, or communication, or
Well,
exchange of understanding.
well, animals are so important. I mean, it's even been shown that it does raise your vibrations. People with
Mm,
pets are much happier, and
yeah.
I've lived it, so I know.
Well, I call mine my battery packs.
Right.
Right? They like it does. They
Yeah.
recharge me, and they listen. If I'm stressed out, I can tell just by their tension. They should like. So I want to make sure my dogs are nice and mellow. Right? That means I'm mellow.
Right.
Yeah. So,
That's
but
awesome.
it's a big help
And I don't
for
have any
sure.
animals, so maybe it was just raising my vibes, and I woke up happier for it. You never know what little things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Come you give well even having that, if your brain says that you had that time petting a dog, like the actual petting, the dog as a whole stimulation and
It was
an
very
effect of
real.
releasing hormones and all kinds of healing properties
Mm-hmm.
into your body.
Yeah.
That's a studied fact, right?
Yeah.
So your brain doesn't know the difference
Mm-hmm.
between that you actually physically did it or you experienced doing it in your dream.
And
You
that's what
still
I
got
tell
all the
people.
healing.
Yeah, it's like even if you think it wasn't real and there's nothing happening in our dream time and it's just all in our imagination, you can imagine biting into a lemon right now and your mouth starts watering,
Right.
because your mind knows it doesn't know the difference, so it doesn't even
That's
matter.
right. There's still chemical reactions. You have
Yeah.
a nightmare, you have
Yeah.
adrenaline released,
Yeah, and you're
right?
waking up sweaty. I mean, that's real, just like the
Exactly.
monster was there and it wasn't, right?
Exactly. So if you're experiencing, therapeutic situations and harmonious situations and or thrill, all these different things, yeah.
Hmm.
That's why I really, when these energy blasts come in, like some of the embodiment experiences I have, I mean, there's got to be a chemical, shift and change going on with the physical body along with that experience,
Hmm.
because there is on every level. We get sad, we cry, we shed tears, right? We're talking about that.
Yeah.
Our body immediately responds to those things on levels that, we can't see all the time.
Hmm.
But that's great. I see it as like, yeah, you actually got the bonus of that healing energy from having spent that time petting a dog without actually having to do it.
Right.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah,
And then it
it's
makes me
kind of cool.
wonder,
It's kind of cool what we're capable of.
yeah, that is cool.
Hmm.
All right. Well, gosh, a lot of exciting stuff going on. I wonder what we'll have to talk about next week.
Yeah, or if we'll be able to.
Right.
The internet, we'll see, right? But that's nothing to worry about.
No.
That won't last. There's lots of contingencies in place. We're all stocked up here. Because keeping in mind ATM machines and things like that, could go down. So
Mm.
it's just good to be prepared, and just make yourself comfortable. Nothing to worry about. Just gonna look crazy outside the window for a little while, but we'll get through it. And on the other side, that's gonna be an amazing experience. Just like that new baby being born, eh, Shane?
Absolutely. The water is
Mm-hmm.
broken. Things are moving along, and I mean, even that new beginning of the alligator view,
Mm-hmm.
that came up, and so yeah, it's all pointing in that direction. So it's exciting times. I don't know how things are going to play out, but I'm just going to
Yeah.
wait and see. You know,
Yeah, it's part of the fun.
fun times. It's a
Yeah.
surprise, and wethat's what I was shown. I was like, we've got a year of surprises. I mean, we're only getting started
Yeah.
here.
Just get warmed up.
Just getting warmed up. Yeah. So, Make sure you guys are doing that conscious breathing. It helps so much. I can't tell you how much it helps. With a big old sigh at the end and the salt baths, the magnesium, the drinking lots of water. I can't think of anything else other than stay happy and stay high vibe all you can.
Hug someone if you can. That's
Yeah.
hugely therapeutic.
Yeah.
Have a salt bath. You'll be good.
Absolutely. You might even need several, right?
Yeah, that's okay too.
Well, lots of love, light, and unity, you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me to chat, Michelle. This is awesome.
Of course. Love you, bro. Love you all.
Love you all. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.